Sound Partners 1, Lesson 6. Today we will learn about a new sound, the sound D, like dog, made by the letter D. The sound D is a lot like the T sound, but your throat vibrates when you say D. Watch as the video demonstrates this sound. D, 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 D. Now put your hand on your throat and let's make that sound together. D, D, like dog. Did you feel your throat vibrate when you made that sound? It sounds a lot like the T, like table sound. Watch the video as it demonstrates this sound. T, 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 T. Now let's say both sounds. Put your hand on your throat and let's make the sound like T, table, T, table. Now let's say D, dog, D, dog. Do you feel your throat vibrating? That's the difference between the D and the T sound. We've previously talked about these 5 sounds. Let's review them now. A like apple, M like moon, S like sun, T like table, and K like cat. Today we're going to learn more about the D like dog sound. It is made by the letter D. Let's practice identifying the sounds that each letter makes. D like dog, D. S like sun, M like moon, T like table, M, A like apple, K like cat, D like dog, K, D, T, S, M, A, S, D. Let's practice those one more time. Ready? D, S, M, T, M, A, K, D, K, D, T, S, M, A, S, D. Now I will point to a letter and you make the sound that letter represents. Ready? Did you say D like dog? If you did, you were correct. Let's try another letter. That's right. The sound for this letter is M. Let's try another one. Did you say K like cat? This letter. T like table. Next letter. S like sun. What about this letter? A like apple. Now, let's learn how to form the lowercase d and the uppercase d. You will need a piece of paper and a pencil. First, we will watch the video describe how to make the lowercase d before we practice. Ready?
Lowercase d. 1. Circle back all the way around. Push up straight. Pull down straight. Lowercase d.
All right, pick up your pencil and now let's practice making a lowercase d along with the video.
Lowercase d. 1. Circle back all the way around. Push up straight. Pull down straight. Lowercase d.
Good job. Put your pencil down and now let's watch as the video describes how to make an uppercase D.
Uppercase D. 1. Pull down straight. Lift. 2. Slide right. Curve forward. Slide left. Uppercase D.
All right, pick up your pencil and let's try making an uppercase D along with the video.
Uppercase D. 1. Pull down straight. Lift. 2. Slide right. Curve forward. Slide left. Uppercase D.
Now we're going to practice identifying letters that make the sound that you hear. We will hear 8 sounds. Ready? The first sound. Write the letter that makes this sound. The second sound. The third sound.
Ah.
The next sound.
D.
The next sound.
S.
Next. Next. And the last sound.
D.
Now let's check to see how you did. For the first sound, you should have written the letter M. The second sound, K, is made by a C. The third sound, A, the letter A. The fourth sound, D, by the letter D. The fifth sound, S, is represented by the letter S. The next sound, K, is the letter C. T is T. And the last one, D, is D. Now let's practice breaking apart the sounds we hear in the word dog. First sound, D, A, G. D, A, G. Dog. The next word we're going to break apart into its sounds is the word Mac. A, K, ack. Mac. The next word, kite. The first sound in the word kite is K. The next sound, I, and the last sound, T. K, I, T. Kite. sad. Think about the sounds that you hear in the word sad. Ready? S, a, d. Sad. S, a, d. Sad. And the last word, time. T, I, m. Time. Now we're going to practice pulling apart words, saying their sounds slowly, and then reading the word quickly. Put your finger on the arrow in the box as we do this one together. Add, mad. When we're saying the word, we're going to say each sound slowly, and then we will put the word back together and say it quickly. Let's try this one again. Add, mad. Now let's do some more at the bottom of the page. Ready? Finger on the arrow. Add, mad. Am, add, sad. Add, cad. Am, tam. Add, tad. At, cat. At, sat. At, am, sam. Am, ack, mac. Let's try those one more time. Ready? Add, mad. Am, add, sad. Add, cad. Am, tam. Add, tad. At, cat. At, sat. At, am, sam. Am, ack, mac. What sound does mad start with? Mad starts with the sound of like moon. What sound does mad end with? Mad ends with the sound d, like dog. Let's try another word. Cat. What sound does cat start with? Cat starts with the sound k, like cat. What sound does cat end with? Cat ends with the t sound, like table. What sound does Sam start with? Sam starts with the sound of s, like sun. What sound does Sam end with? Sam ends with the sound of like moon. Now let's practice spelling some of these words. The first word that we are going to spell is the word mad. Remember to break apart the word into its sounds, mad, and then write the letters that represent the sounds that you hear to spell the word mad. All right, let's try the next word. The next word is cat. Remember to say it slowly and listen for the sounds. At. Cat. Now write the letters that represent the sounds you hear in the word cat. And the last word we're going to spell today is the word tad, and this is a name. So let's break apart the word into its sounds. Tad. Tad. Now write the letters that represent the sounds you hear in the word tad. Let's check to see how you did today. The first word, mad, mad, has 3 sounds made by the letters M-A-D, mad. The next word, cat, has 3 sounds, k-at, made by the letters C-A-T. And the last word, tad, is a name, and it also has 3 sounds. Capital T, A-D are the letters that represent those 3 sounds. Remember, we need a capital T because tad is a name, and names begin with capital letters. Now, today we have 2 sentences to practice reading. I'll give you just a minute to practice on your own. If you're having trouble with this word, that word is the word and. All right, let's practice together. Sam, Sam, Sam and Mac, Mac, Sam and Mac at, sat, Sam and Mac sat, a k at, a cat at, sat, a cat sat. Let's read them both together now. Sam and Mac sat. A cat sat. Put a picture in your mind of what those 2 sentences would look like. Did your picture look like my pictures? Sam and Mac sat. A cat sat. Now we're going to read a story about Matt. Ready? Let's read the title together. Matt. And this is the cover page of the book, so let's read it again. Matt. This also tells us who is the author and who drew the pictures. The author, it says, is Bobby Lynn Maslin. The illustrator is John R. Maslin. Here is the first 2 pages of the book. It tells us that we're going to be working with the sounds in this book of M like moon, A like apple, T like table, and S like sun. Here's our first page. Let's say that word together. At, Matt, Matt. This must be Matt. Here's Matt again. Let's read the words together. At, Matt, at, sat, Matt sat. Sure enough, Matt is sitting on the grass, isn't he? Matt sat. Let's try the next page together. Sam. Sam. This must be Sam. Sam, at, sat. Sam sat. At, Matt, at, sat. Matt sat. Sam, at, sat. Sam sat. Let's read that page together again. Matt sat, Sam sat. And they're both seated on the ground, aren't they? All right, ready to read? At, Matt, at, sat, on, Sam, Sam. Matt sat on Sam. Uh-oh. Sam doesn't look very happy, does he? All right, let's read the next page. Sam, at, sat, Sam sat on, at, Matt. Sam sat on Matt. Now Matt doesn't look very happy, does he? All right, ready to read? At, Matt, at, sat, Matt sat. Sam, at, sat. Matt sat, Sam sat. They look happier here, don't they? The end. Let's go back to the beginning of this story and read it one more time together. This time we'll read it quickly since we've sounded out all of the words. Ready? Matt. 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 Matt sat. Sam. Sam sat. Matt sat. Sam sat. Matt sat on Sam. Sam sat on Matt. Matt sat. Sam sat. The end. And that is the end of today's lesson, boys and girls.